Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Week 13 previews of CFL action. It's starting in about just 30 minutes from now. I believe it'll be the Stampeders versus Redblacks then. So, like I said, getting right into this, it'll be Calgary versus Ottawa. All right, so Bo Levi Mitchell. Is he in, or do they play Mayer? Now, this is a legitimate question because, I thought that Bo Levi Mitchell had a decent start to the game, but as the game went on, he really didn't look very good. And it looked ugly, and honestly, it kind of cost Calgary that game, a vital game against Saskatchewan, who they were hoping to sweep. And so I see a lot of Calgary fans really calling to put Mayer back in because he was quite solid when he played. So the question is, do they keep Bo Levi Mitchell in, or do they play Mayer? I mean, the last time we saw a backup QB get thrown in, kind of surprisingly, the starter then got traded not even a week later. Now, I don't think that's the situation. I don't think they will trade away Bo Levi Mitchell, as I'm not sure who would want to take on that contract exactly. However, is what it is. It'll be curious to see how that fiasco ends up. I think Ottawa's defense is really going to try to take advantage of this game if Bo Levi Mitchell is the one playing. Just kind of seeing how Saskatchewan was able to put some pressure on him and just the way that he kind of crumbled under that pressure. I think the D-line specifically is really going to try to put a lot of pressure on the O-line here. And I think Ottawa will have minimal success there, at least more. When I say minimal success, I mean more success than usual, which is no success. Sorry, Ottawa. But I expect Calgary to win by 20-ish points. I expect it to be a bit closer than some of the other teams that have beaten them, just with the way that Calgary performed last week and the damage that's been done there. So that is going to bring us to our next game, which is Hamilton versus Edmonton. Alrighty, so Edmonton now has Nick Arbuckle. However, the question is, will they play him or Cornelius? I mean, I thought Cornelius wasn't bad. I'm surprised they traded for Arbuckle. I didn't really understand it from either team's aspect. Is they, trading away Trevor Harris, they gave this impression that, okay, Cornelius is going to be the guy now, and he's going to be who we're going to roll with. But then they immediately trade for Arbuckle after, so really it doesn't make much sense what Edmonton is trying to do here. I think they're going to put up a fight against Hamilton. I don't expect them to win, but I expect them to put up a decent fight. I expect it to be probably about a 10-point difference, maybe like a 20-10 game or somewhere in there, in that range. I think Mazzoli is probably going to have a stellar game here. And I think Jalen Acklin is going to be probably the star on the receiving end of that. So I think that's how it'll probably go. So we'll then get into our next game, which is BC versus Toronto. All right, so BC had a horrible game, as you know, with a 45-0 loss to the Bombers. And Toronto didn't have that great of a game either, with an unexpected loss to the Alouettes, a game that they were really hoping to capture to really solidify themselves as the number one team in the East, but they didn't do that. I think that Toronto will win this game, with them being a stronger team and all, and with the injury situation that BC is dealing with. However, I expect Toronto to be pretty pissed about last week with a game that, they really were expected to win, because as much as BC was expected to put up a hell of a lot more of a fight than they were never expected to win that game against Winnipeg, as opposed to the situation that Toronto is in. I expect both of these teams to be quite hungry. However, I don't see how BC stands a chance here. I really think that Toronto's probably going to shut them down everywhere. I expect BC maybe to get a touchdown or two, but that's about it. I think Toronto's probably going to win by around 20-ish points. And that will bring us into our last game of the week, which is Saskatchewan versus Montreal. All right, so D-line discipline. They had a decent game when it came to their actual performance and the way that they were able to put pressure on that Calgary O-line. However, they had kind of a piss-poor performance in the discipline compartments. So how many penalties is this D-line going to take for Saskatchewan? I think that's a big question, and I'm curious to see exactly how that goes. I think Montreal is going to fight hard. And I think they're going to try to kind of replicate that success that they had against Toronto. However, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it'll be the closest game out of all the games this week. However, I think a great performance by Cody Fajardo is really going to send this in for the Roughriders and make it a Saskatchewan victory. So that was my previews of CFL action for Week 13. Make sure to check out my Week 13 reviews and my Week 14 previews, as the Bombers will be playing that week. So also make sure you check out our Jets game reactions if you haven't, and Bomber game reactions. Oh, I forgot to mention this last video. Thank you so much for 1K. I wasn't expecting it to 1K. I actually thought that video was probably going to get demonetized by calling it first-degree murder. However, it seems that it did very well, so thank you. I really appreciate that, so keep it up, you beautiful bastards. So I'll be it till next time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already.